need. And we're in GG's live coverage of Grand Prix Columbus 2012. I'm Sheldon Menery, alongside Marshall Sutcliffe, Brandon Nelson, Gerard, Fabiano have already gotten underway. What do we have?
So we've had a Delver of Secrets for Gerard on his turn 1, and strangely a Spellskite on turn 2 for Brandon. So my guesses are that I think that Gerard is on Rug. I think he's on the deck that I like. And I think that that Brandon's on Splinter Twin combo. That would be my guess if I see a turn 1 Spellskite and a bunch of islands, but it could be a lot of different things. So we're going to have to be patient and see here. We're going to be getting the list soon.
Crack staff will get them to us straight away.
All right, pass the turn back. And Gerard is interestingly going to crack his fetch right now. Now, that's not the normal play in a Rug bait or in a Delver deck. The reason for that is that you can look at the top card with your Delver of Secrets. If it's not a card that you'd like to draw, you can then shuffle it away. All right, we get a chance to look here because there's been a Brandon Nelson played a Vendilion Click, and he is ever so rudely put it just off camera.
Right. We see one of GFAB's islands. Is that a miracle? Is that second card a bonfire?
I do see a bunch of lines on the side of it, although I would be surprised if it was a miracle. It could be an old school sword or something, you know, like those Judge promo.
Oh, with the old
Fire and Ice thing, or I don't know. I can't quite tell.
It looks red to me, though.
All right, I believe.
All right, so there's
that he's got his own Vendilion Click, maybe. Yeah, there's always some question. Gerard is. I don't know why he's shuffling. He has not got his land yet. Remember, he cracked that fetch, and in response to the fetch crack, where's the land? Does he have it off to the side, just face down? He just doesn't want to show him which one he's getting quite yet? This is a little strange.
Yeah.
Because the way it works is, correct me if I'm wrong here, Sheldon, but you say, I want to crack my fetch land. The ability, search your library for a basic land, put it into play, goes on the stack. Now, with that on the stack, it looks like Brandon said, in response, I'm going to Vendilion Click you. So there should be no shuffling or searching that has happened yet. Okay, so that's why he started to shuffle, and it was too soon because there's going to be a draw here.
Yeah.
Now, if you take a land out of the deck, that can affect the percentage chance of drawing an actual spell. Ooh.
Right. We got Cryptic Command was the we saw go on the bottom.
I saw a Cryptic, and we see a Stomping Ground come down. So I do think that the Gerard is on Rug here. Mono Blue Fairies.
Mono Blue Fairies.
This is along the vein of the decks that we've seen, that we've talked about. All right, so Lightning Bolt transforms the Delver.
Well, that's what that was. That was that
oh, you're right.
Player reward frame.
Yes, that's what that was.
Speaking of art, those are always really nice.
Oh, they're sweet. I have those, and I have 2 Beta Bolts. I'm looking to get up to 4, and then I'll have to make that tough decision every time I play. Oh. All right, so the Delver has now transformed. Yeah, I don't know why Gerard cracked that on end step. It's pretty important to keep that ability to shuffle away things that you don't want. He's just going to run a Bonfire of the Damned.
It was a bonfire.
It was a bonfire. Okay. Bonfire resolves. It's going to kill the Vendilion Click, and it's going to allow Gerard to go ahead and get in for an extra damage, which makes 4 on the turn here. All right, so Gerard's playing my deck. Except for he has 2 Bonfire of the Damned, which I definitely don't run in the deck. But otherwise, it looks almost like the same things that I do. Oh, he's got 1 Jace Beleren, too, which I also don't run. He's got a little spice going in there. All right, main deck. One of Relic of Progenitus comes in. Okay. Relic is not a dead card versus Gerard. He does play Snapcaster Mages that work well with the bolts. It looks like Gerard's in the driver's seat so far. All right, he says, you remove a card. Relic also hoses Tarmogoyf pretty well. So.
I think
end step?
Both guys are being very clear about the communication.
Yeah. But it looks like he's just passed the turn. Brandon Nelson said, okay, use my Relic of Progenitus. And then Gerard decided to crack his fetch as well because he doesn't want to get his Bonfire of the Damned exiled, I guess, although he could just do it in response. But pass the turn back from Brandon. Attack with my Insectal Aberration. And I guess Brandon's just taking it. He's just taking a ton here. I mean, all of his creatures have Flying and Flash, so I'd expect to see one pretty soon. I see a Spell Pierce. I see the Bolt. I think Gerard also has a Snapcaster, which means he could represent lethal next turn if he wanted. He can go Bolt you, Snapcaster, Flash it back, and then hit you for 3 with my Aberration. All right, Scion of Una on end step. So Gerard has to decide right now, do I want to bolt this thing? And he does not. He's going to wait.
Fairies can be annoyingly flashy.
Well put. Attack. So, oh, never mind. He just passed her back. Excuse me. So I see a Mistbind Click in Brandon's hand, which will bring shudders to many of the people watching because that card does some pretty nasty things, although it doesn't get much play in Modern. It's being 4 mana is much more of a hindrance than when it was in Standard. All right, so we have an attack from Gerard, and right now Brandon is trying to figure out, I mean, he's got to be constantly concerned about counterspells from Gerard, you know, mana leaks or even a Spell Pierce if it happens to be an actual spell, and Brandon needs to set up a game state where he can get basically these 2 creatures down. All right, is it time to go for it? It is. Oh, this is a Cryptic Command.
Yeah.
All right, so which is really bad because Gerard does have a Spell Pierce, which he's definitely going to use here. Spell Pierce you, and this leaves Brandon completely tapped out. Brandon, if he doesn't chump block, he's dead. Like he's dead right now. Because he's tapped out, he can't even activate his Relic
To draw a card.
Yeah, so Gerard could just kill him. If I read his hand right, I think he has Bolt and Snapcaster. So he just goes, Bolt you, flash it back, and you're dead. Yeah, he does. So this game is functionally over. Relic of Progenitus can remove. Oh, no, it's not. I'm sorry. There is still a Spellskite here.
All right.
So Spellskite reduces the bolts to 2 damage instead of 3 currently because Brandon is tapped out. Oh, he's letting him untap. So he couldn't kill him right there, but he could bring him to 2. He decides just to play a Tarmogoyf and pass the turn back instead, though. Spellskite's kind of wreaking havoc with this board a little bit, but Brandon having blue mana up to activate it is going to make it so that he can just outright essentially counter the first bolt, and he can even make the second bolt not go to his face. It will eventually kill the Spellskite, but interesting card.
Spellskite just changes everything.
It does. It's interesting how normally that game would be locked up. This happens a lot when you play fairies.
Yeah,
You have to think about stuff, sequence it out, feel like not sure, exactly what you're playing against.
Brandon's main line here is stay alive. I mean, he's sort of on the ropes.
Yeah.
He's sort of he's reeling here. His hand looks.
He's got a Mistbind Click, a mana leak.
Go ahead.
He just says go again. I mean, all of his spells he can play on Gerard's turn if he wants.
Right. And
Gerard's still just sitting back on that.
Tarmogoyf is 3-4, right? We have
Yeah, but
no,
it can
creature
become an
instant-
0-1.
Right. Instant creature and sorcery.
Yeah. So
Gerard's-
it's a 3-4.
Gerard's not going to fall for that.
All right, so it looks like the chump block is upon us. And then maybe Brandon goes for misblind click on his Scion.
Okay. Block. Yeah.
All right, so block first, though, and then play misblind click. Champion trigger. So actually, misblind clicks on the stack. So no champion trigger yet. Yeah, I mean, because Gerard would like to just bolt the Scion, but if he does that, then Brandon redirects the Spellskite, then he can Snapcaster, flash it back, do it again, but then all he really gets is he gets Brandon to 2, but the Spellskite dead. But Brandon takes no damage this turn.
I mean, he's still got.
I mean, yeah, no damage from the creatures this turn.
He's still got a. He's still got to change the momentum of this game if he wants to win it. I mean, again, right now he's just not losing.
Yeah, he's forced to do something. All right, so redirect to Spellskite. Brandon goes to 4. So Gerard has to decide if he's going to do it again. Snapcaster Mage. Exile a card. Gerard had just enough cards so that he could leave his bolt up. Bolt this again. So he is going to now use it to do 4 damage basically to Brandon. Yep, okay. Redirect. Brandon doesn't have a choice here. Because this is his big stabilization play.
Right.
This is good now.
Now, we see a big graveyard from Gerard, but those are all exiles.
Yep.
But
with Brandon at 2,
yep.
Gerard can kind of, without another Spellskite coming down, can get into top deck and lightning bolt mode.
But yeah, now the Spellskite's gone. He has that in his deck, and you know, I mean, I run 4 bolts and 3 burst lightning. I don't know if he runs burst lightning.
2 burst lightning.
Yeah. So he's at 6.
Bonfires.
I'm at 7. He's at 6 plus the bonfires. Another Snapcaster Mage comes down because all of his creatures are lethal now except for Tarmogoyf, which is technically lethal right now, but Brandon has the ability to change that whenever he wants. And he's just going to scoop it up.
He can't beat that.
1 creature versus essentially 3
4,
creatures. Yeah, the third one.
Yeah.
Although I have to say, why wouldn't you use your Relic there? Relic draws you a card.
Yep.
Maybe there's not any one single card that can get him out of that situation. He did have a.
Well, Cryptic Command at least gets him out of the situation.
And he also had a.
No, he didn't have enough mana for that. He only had 4 mana, right?
Okay, so it's
one for the Relic.
Right, but I'm saying, he's running Spellstutter Sprite. So you pop Relic, you draw Spellstutter Sprite, right? And then on the other turn, you can only block 2 guys.
Yep, still only 2 guys.
Okay, so he must have just had no outs left. Yeah. I always do it anyway, though.
Yeah.
Sometimes it comes up to things that I can't, like I didn't envision, and then I see it and I'm like, oh, I guess I do have outs here. I mean, he was in a pretty tough spot, but I think that Fairies often finds itself in that spot. You find yourself down, but then all of a sudden you make the one big game-swinging play, and all of a sudden you're attacking them, and they're on the heels.
Oh, that's why cards like Cryptic Command can be pretty significant because, especially if it's cast a pre-combat thing. Like, let's counter that and tap all your guys.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah, like if Gerard just goes bolt you.
Yeah.
Yeah, counter that, tap all your guys. I take nothing this turn.
And I'm going to beat you in the face with.
Yeah.
A couple of click. Well, not a couple of clicks. A click and a.
Well, there's other clicks. There's Mistbinds and Vendilions. Is he running? Of course he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that interestingly, that Spellskite, which actually kept him alive for quite a while, was the only one in his deck, in the main deck.
So, what are we going to see sideboard action from these two guys?
Let's see here. Well, I know which cards are good against the rug deck, and I'll see if he has any of them. He has 3 Threads of Disloyalty. That's good against the rug deck. Take Your Tarmogoyf is pretty sweet. He has a Worm Coil Engine. That's excellent against the rug deck if you get to cast it.
Yeah, you have to get to the 6 mana
Yeah.
and not get a counter.
That's pretty tough. And then another Spellskite, which I also think will come in. Now, over on Gerard's side, 3 Blood Moon. No, that ain't coming in. Grudge, probably not. Huntmaster.
Huntmaster murders a lot of fairies.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see Huntmaster coming in if he wanted. The Negate, the Spell Pierce I would bring in. Combust definitely comes in. He's got 2 Threads and 2 Relics of his own. I don't think I'd bring those in. His board doesn't look too amazing, actually. Huntmaster is okay, but not fantastic against fairies. A Negate and an extra Spell Pierce, sure.
Well, again, we're talking about decks that operate on a really thin line mana-wise. It's not like, I mean, Standard is a format where there's a lot of mana.
Yep.
Here, we're not seeing 7, 8,
No.
9 mana on a.
No. You have to build. If you want to get to that level of mana, you either need to have a really strong form of acceleration, or you need to have a deck built specifically to get to that stage of the game, like with lots of card slots dedicated to I'm staying alive.
Yeah.
But you can't. You don't just run a normal deck hoping to get to 6 or 7 mana in Modern. You will be dead. You will not make it that far.
So did you say you're not playing Bonfire in your?
No. Too slow, man. I want my burn spells to be instant speed.
Yeah.
I want to be able to flash him back with Snapcaster, which I know you technically can with Bonfire, but come on. That's not reasonable. And, yeah, so no way, I don't run that. If I was going to run a sweeper, I would just run Pyroclast.
Right, yeah.
But I don't, because it kills all my guys. I tend to play the deck very aggressively, though. Very I will look for the avenue to kill you as quick as possible.
Right.
I'm curious to see how Gerard plays it here in Game 2.
I think Brandon Nelson is going to 6, which is never good when you're down a game.
Indeed.
He doesn't really have one to give, as Rich Hagon would say.
Yep. Gerard's kept his 7. The deck definitely has different angles that it takes. Like a lot of tempo aggro or aggro control, as they're sometimes called, decks. These guys can sit back for a while and kind of prevent you from doing things. Unfortunately, against a deck like Brandon Nelson's, I don't think that's going to work. I think Brandon doesn't mind going long.
It's Fairy Conclave.
Is that what that is?
Yep.
Ooh, good turn 1 Delver. Not reveal.
It's getting in there anyway. Delver likes the red zone.
Oh. Whenever I have to block with the Delver, I'm very sad. I think he's just going to Serum Visions here to set up a Delver flip. He does not crack his fetch first, so. All right, draw my card. And now he's going to look. I see a Spell Pierce and I think a Combust. So either one of these are going to flip. The question is, which one do you want Brandon to see? And is there one that you want to shuffle away? Because it gets a little awkward when you have the fetch land and you want both cards. Threads of Disloyalty, I will just take that from you.
Good.
Well, he doesn't mind shuffling away some things if he has to now, just because those were in a lot of ways set up so that he could flip the Delver, and if he doesn't have it anymore, it's not going to do him any good. So Spell Pierce is a likely card. That's about it, though. Threads cost 3. All right, he steals it. So pretty aggressive by Brandon. He just takes an unflipped Delver. He's like, I'm just taking that.
Well, he knows he's got plenty of instants in his.
Yeah, he's got a fair amount, although most of his creatures are also instants and sorceries, by proxy.
I'll take 3.
All right, so Gerard cracks it. Probably going to get a Steam Vents. Gets the Steam Vents. If he has Goyf in his hand, then he can get Stomping Ground or Breeding Pool, but play a land. Play a Shackles. Ooh, so he sticks a Shackles against Mono Blue. That's pretty sweet. He also has 3 islands. All right, attack you for 1.
Go ahead.
It didn't flip.
Go ahead.
Gerard's just going to pass back with his Vidalcan Shackles activation ready. He's also got a mana leak and a whole bunch of stuff. He does need to hit a land here pretty soon, though. That way he can do things like mana leak and Shackles.
Does, other than killing Gerard with his dudes, does Brandon have an answer
For Shackles? He shouldn't. I mean, he's mono blue.
Cryptic Command could bounce it.
He could bounce it to get a guy back for a turn, but pretty unimpressive.
Right.
I mean, blue doesn't get to destroy artifacts, so nope. All right, so Shackles steals back. On end step, we see a card, a Goyf come into Gerard's hand, which is a complete blank at this point.
You took it on my turn. Yeah. There we go.
Uncastable and also does not transform the Delver, so.
You're an 18? What do you have yourself on? On second 1, right?
So Gerard keeps his
turn 1 attack.
Gerard keeps his hand pretty close, which means we don't really get to see. Oh,
Yeah.
there he fans it out real
Yeah.
quick.
Yep, 18, 15. Go ahead.
I think he's just going to keep passing the turn here. Like, he doesn't have really any incentive to do anything. Like, if he could cast the Goyf, he'd consider it, but yeah, he can't.
Go ahead. Okay. 17? Correct.
Attack. I mean, Gerard's going to be discarding soon. He's got 7 or 8 cards in his hand.
5.
He just drew a fetch land, didn't he?
It's a breeding pool.
Oh, it's a breeding pool.
13.
Good. That's what he needed.
Another?
And a Tarmogoyf comes down. So there should be a fight over this. I don't expect this to resolve. Pretty tough for Brandon to beat a Goyf that he can't steal. Cryptic Command, bounce, counter bounce, excuse me. Mana leak, and then a spell snare right back. So the Cryptic is going to resolve. Return that to your hand, which is a big tempo hit. It also just gives Brandon back the creature, and then of course keeps the Goyf off the table. So that was a big one that he had that spell snare. That's a big swing.
Well,
because
that's the one we were talking about as the swinging card.
Yeah, I mean, because now Gerard has to re-resolve. Like,
Right.
not only does he have to reinvest the mana, which is important, but like he has to get it through counter magic now,
Right.
which is really tough.
While he's getting beaten on by his own Delver.
Yeah, I mean, it's still just a 1/1, but yeah, eventually you got to figure that thing's going to flip. Like you mentioned before, Brandon has a bunch of.
Oh, and he's got a Shackles of his own.
Ooh.
Now we get on all kind of crazy layering and control
Oh,
effects.
geez. Yeah, you're going to have to explain that one to me. Gerard has 2 grudges in his board, and I think he has one in his hand. He does. I'm surprised he brought it in, but he must have known that there was going to be some swords or something in the future.
Cards? 3.
Grudge is a much easier one to resolve because you get to do it twice.
Right.
Ancient Grudge. Target Shackles. Does it resolve? I see a Spellstutter Sprite. I see another Cryptic.
Yeah.
Nope. Just going to die. And he's going to go ahead and
Cast. And go for the Goyf.
That's fine. Go ahead. How many cards? 5. 5.
Yeah, I was wondering when that tech edge was going to get used.
Yeah.
If he's a little land shy anyway.
still hasn't. That Delver's been on the table since turn 1. It's been in both of their hands multiple times.
And
Has not
nobody's transformed it.
No.
Go ahead.
All right, so that Goyf is 1, 2, 3, 4,
Is it a 4-5? Oh no, it's a 5-6 because there's a artifact, right?
Oh, they're right, yeah.
But there's sorcery, land, instant creature, otherwise. So yeah, that's a huge goyf.
Knocks Nelson down from 17 to 12. That ties the life totals. And
Snapcaster Mage for Serum Visions, if it resolves. Gerard's clearly just looking to get some mana here. So you can activate Conclave and then play the Spellsetter Sprite to counter it, right? Fairy Conclave costs 2 to activate, is that right?
yes, blue one.
Sure. Sure.
Activate Spellsetter Sprite, counter that. So that thing gets countered straight away. No flashback or anything was going to happen here.
And once again, a Delver does not get. I think we may be on a world record for most turns in a row that a Delver didn't get transformed.
This is a pretty well developed game too.
Well, and I mean, and decks with a lot of
Attack
things
for
that are going to
2.
flip them.
Pass the turn. He's still sitting on that cryptic command. Attack for 5. Is Brandon taking it?
7.
Yeah. Goes to 7. I don't think that Gerard even plays anything here. I mean, you could just run the Shackles out there, but it's just going to get... Like, wouldn't you rather just have Spell Pierce and Mana Leak up?
It seems like that's the play. For him.
I mean,
his one guy is better than Brandon's 2 guys.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is Brandon has, what, 6 mana out right now, so... Mana Leak isn't as good. Oh, it's pretty good right here, though.
Okay.
Wow, that played right into it. He was pretty happy to let that have that happen. Delver. Nope. So I guess Brandon's just racing at this point. Like he might even just beat in with the Conclave depending on what he has in his hand. He's got to draw something else though. That Goyf will overcome him if the board state stays the same.
Well, I mean, if he can start chump blocking.
Yeah,
that's not a path to victory.
No, that's the Goyf overcoming him.
Yeah. It's like he's considering activating that Conclave and attacking.
Oh, he has another chump block in hand with a Mutavault. Plays it.
So is Mutavault get an artifact?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's changing.
All right.
He might even be able to just represent lethal on the crack. Ooh. Cryptic command. Bounce. Goyf.
I'm going to bounce now and draw.
Draw a card. That's huge.
Yeah, okay.
Like if you're racing,
Yeah.
Spell Pierce just so he doesn't get the Fairy Conclave hit in, but it does resolve. Attack you for 2. And if Brandon would have flipped that Delver at any point, he would have been in a much better position.
Well, he's in a pretty good position right now.
He is.
I mean, he's got all the mana. He only has 1 card, but he's got all the mana and all the threats.
He does not have lethal, however, as he can only hit for 6 right now. Now, interestingly, if the Delver does flip this turn, then he can hit for the full 8.
Yeah.
Serum Visions, draw a card, set up something. Now, having played Gerard's deck a whole lot, I can tell you that the mana base is not damage friendly.
Okay.
You know, when you're in a really tight spot like this, a lot of his lands are going to ask that
shock
he
him or
gets
whatnot.
shocked.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Gerard Fabiano kind of deep in the tank with his back way up against the wall.
So I'm on 8 and you're on 7. You have 1 card.
Yep.
He needed a red source for that bolt. That would add at least another turn.
Snapcaster.
Snapcaster Mage, he's just going to play it out right now while Brandon's sitting only on 1 blue source. He's in desperation mode for sure now, so he is flashing back the Serum Visions.
Yeah, we didn't see what he drew.
I don't think he did either because he doesn't. It's a Goyf. Yeah, this is a bad spot. If it flips, it's still that thing is never flipping. All right, activate Conclave. He's got a Dispel in his hand. So if he activates the guy, then and he blocks there, then he gets in for 2, 3, 4, putting Gerard to 4, and he trades the Snapcaster for the Mutavault. If he doesn't do that, then Gerard can trade off for the Delver. He's shipping the team.
Yeah, that seems
Block?
like the play.
Yeah, I mean, it gets him that one extra damage, because Gerard would probably just trade for the Delver otherwise.
That's Spellskite.
Spellskite doesn't do much here. I mean, it does protect his Fairy Conclave and such from things like Lightning Bolt.
Right.
Which Gerard, is he running a mountain? I run 1 mountain, he does 2. He has a fetch land that can grab 1. Rashad doesn't listen to the broadcast as we do it. He's telling me to say transform, even though I've said transform 8 times, 9 times during the course of this match. 10 times. We counted. he thinks drawing me a picture of a smiley face is gonna get him out of this. I might have said flip once. It's slang.
You kids in your street jargon.
Oops, I dropped the note that you wrote for me. All right, so he's going to flash back his Ancient Grudge, targeting Spellskite just because he can, and he's going to play a Shackles. And a land.
So
what?
It's the fetch.
Oh, I see, because the Shackles would have to target the Spellskite either way. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Activate.
Okay.
Go to attacks. 2, 3. So he's going to Lightning Bolt here. He's going to hit the Conclave. He's going to go to 3. He's going to take 2.
Right.
He is battling. Like, Gerard is in full battle mode. He's going to get the only mountain in his deck. And if it resolves and he can kill the Conclave, he will be alive and he will be able to untap with the Shackles. The Shackles changes the complexion of the game entirely. It means that Brandon has no attacks as the board currently sits. So this has to resolve. Resolve? Nope, dispel. And that's the game.
All right, so we're going to go to game 3. Gerard Fabiano v. Brandon Nelson.
Woo! That came right down to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Gerard was a little land shy through the middle there.
He did.
The tech edge for Brandon was extremely good play.
It was very good. Now, Brandon had a decision on whether to take him off of red or green because both of Gerard's colored sources were tied up in non-basic lands.
Right.
And he decided to go for red, basically allowing Gerard to resolve Goyfs in the future.
Yep.
But as he saw the board, he was going to be racing him in the air, and he didn't care if Gerard spent his precious mana on a Goyf. So,
right.
Where if you let him have red, then he can bolt his threats.
Gerard going to make any sideboard choices based on being on the play here?
Sure. I mean, mana leaks get better on the play for sure. Spell pierces, his counter magic for sure gets better. I don't know if he's left in his cryptic commands or not. Getting a cryptic command through spell pierce, mana leak, and dispel and even a spell stutter maybe is a pretty tall order.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's obviously a powerful spell, one of the most powerful around, but that might want to come out for cheaper stuff.
Right. Well, certainly, yeah. It was the cryptic command that didn't get countered was the wheel in that game right there.
Yeah.
That's where everything changed.
And in Brandon's deck, cryptic command is very significant, but in Gerard's deck, it's less so. Like, it's not his game plan.
It's just good.
It's just excellent.
Yeah.
But it's his top end. I mean, it's the game-breaking play that you make to finish off your opponent, as opposed to Brandon's deck, which looks like it's planning on being alive and ready to go to resolve some cryptics.
Right. All right, so as these guys are shuffling up, I'll tell you they're done with day 1 over in Ghent.
Okay.
Top of the leaderboards, 9-0, Elias Klocker of Austria, Jonathan Kurtz, Christoph Olroga of Germany, and Andrei Petrikov from Russia. Not far behind, some notable names: Alexander Daras, Florian Koch, Pierre Salmon, Elie Pichon, Jonas Kussler, both Peter and Pascal Biren. Tom Valkeniers, Samuel Estrade, our modern Pro Tour champion, Simon Gertzen.
Oh, Simon, great.
Simon Gertzen is one of the smartest Magic people in all the world.
That guy is awesome.
If I want analysis on how to break down a format or even a deck,
yeah,
I'd go talk to him.
You know, that's funny. I had an experience with him. He does videos on the same site that I do videos for, MTGO Academy. And so I got to know him a little just because we were in the same thing. And he had watched one of my videos, and I had got hung up on a part. And I mentioned on the video, you know, I'm not sure how to get to the conclusion here, so I'm doing this because of these reasons. And he said, I know how to do that. Okay. And he said, would you like me to tell you? And I said, yes, like by all means, you know. And he wrote out an email that was like 3 pages long for me that was amazing, you know. So yeah, I'm a big fan. By the way, we're underway here.
We're back underway. Fabiano, turn 1, Delver, which has not transformed
yet, but it has the ability to transform. If he reveals a instant or sorcery off the top, it would transform. And we see his mana base, like I said, this is a no compromises mana base. Like you get your mana, you get your colors, and they're untapped on any turn of the game whenever you need them. And so far, he's taken 5 damage from his mana base. So Gerard starts the game at 15 this time, but we're likely to see a Tarmogoyf here, and there it is. And it resolves too.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, if this Delver transforms, things are going to get
ugly fast. It does not.
Did not.
It's the most non-transforming Delver ever.
Yeah, that guy is real stubborn. He did draw an island. I also see that he has a lightning bolt and a Serum Visions, and the Serum Visions is a great setup play. You know, it draws you a card immediately, which has some value because you get it right away. Ooh, Spellsetter Sprite it. Bolt it with the ability on the stack.
Pay nothing.
The thing, yeah, so it's not pay, like it just doesn't counter anything.
Right.
And then he gets to potentially set up a transform on the Delver.
Yeah, there wasn't even
both on top?
There wasn't even a thought process there for Gerard.
No, so it must be 2 awesome cards then.
Yeah.
Hits you for 1, 2, 3, 4 damage. 5 damage.
4, so 5
Creature, instant, sorcery, land.
Yeah.
Wow, Gerard is in the driver's seat here, and a second Delver of Secrets to follow up.
Uh-oh.
Wow, Brandon is way up against it. This is exactly what Gerard's deck wants to do.
We see Brandon has a Cryptic Command, but he's at least 2 turns away from casting. He's got 1 island in his hand.
And you know, he's playing these value lands like Tectonic Edge and the Mutavault that we see. Those don't resolve Cryptic. You know, they crimp you. Brandon is, and remember, Gerard just resolved the Serum Vision, so the transformation is imminent here. Like, things are
inevitable.
Yeah, like, this is very bad.
Yeah, you sort of see it on Brandon's face.
You kind of can't. I mean, he's mono blue. It's not like he can just sweep the board whenever he wants.
Right.
I mean, if he lands a Shackles, things can get good for him eventually, but he has to be alive, you know?
Right.
Okay, that's a good start. He has to use it on the Delver that's not transformed so that he can block with the thing.
Right.
It's untapped.
Looks like Gerard didn't reveal and transform anything. Maybe the 2 cards did on the top.
He topped, right?
Yeah.
I'm really surprised by that. Especially with the second Delver.
Yeah.
All right, now this one better set it up. Did he just blind bottom those? Oh, he's fetching anyway. It's not on the stack. That thing already resolved. I must have missed something. He had an unknown card there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm slightly confused by Gerard's line of play here.
If you were going to crack the fetch, you would just do it first.
Well, especially since you know that you're not going to, you know your top card is not going to transform you.
Okay.
Because that was the second card off his scry.
Yeah,
7, right?
that was strange.
It's just an-
I mean,
Stamina went into
he
it.
Snapcaster, flashback, bolt. Or just played bolt?
At 8.
No, it needs to be exiled.
14?
Yep.
Go ahead.
You might have just set it off to the side, but
Yeah, it's the second bolt that he's casting.
no, I don't think it is because that thing died when he killed it. So he put it in his graveyard and then that needs to go out. That bolt is exiled.
Oh, there's a judge on the.
Yeah, get that out of there.
Instant, sorcery, creature, land.
Oh, the bolt's gone.
He
though.
played one on Spellstutter Sprite and then that one again.
Yep.
Oh, so.
Yeah.
so
Okay.
it's
Yep.
one
Judge on the
left.
scene.
All right, Judge is
Right on top of
wasting
it.
no time.
Yeah.
It also matters because there's a Goyf here, and I don't know that there's another instant in the yard. When he attacked.
Land, Serum Visions, land, Delver.
And then there's an enchantment and a creature, so there was not. So that might have changed the combat a little bit there. I don't remember if he did it before or after combat. He did it before. He Snapcaster,
Yep.
played Bolt to get the blocker out of the
Yep.
way and attack. So there should be one more life in the works here for Brandon. Gotta be careful on that stuff. These things matter,
Yep.
right? I mean, that's a point of damage. It's not just, oh, we'll take that out later and I won't be able to flash it back. That's a point of damage. I'm not sure what's going on now.
Maybe there's a discussion about that life total. We'll get our spotter over there to figure out what's going on.
Oh. Our spotter's not currently there. We might be waiting for him to come back because he acts as the table judge too, I believe.
Well, table judge might not be there.
What's the term?
Well, I mean, table judging implies that the judge watches everything and makes sure that if you're about to do something illegal, he stops you.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there may be judges at the table
Observing.
right, but the player has the primary responsibility to make sure the game goes correct.
Understood.
Goes legally.
I did not know that.
Yeah, we stopped table judging
You're going to receive a warning.
the way we table judged back in the day. You see some of those videos from World Championships and stuff. We stopped table judging the way we back then because it started putting the responsibility on the judge as opposed to the player to play the game technically correctly.
Which could incentivize the player to
not
push that.
Yeah.
I like that. Makes good sense.
All right, so it looks like Gerard has. I think they're discussing the point of damage there.
Should definitely be one less than whatever it was.
So Gerard is appealing the warning. It sounds like that's an old pro move.
So why would somebody appeal a warning when there was clearly a mistake made on his end?
Because he's allowed to.
Tarmogoyf swings.
Okay. So he's just using the gray area to the most. I mean, why would you do that? Like, wouldn't you look at that?
Because we've gone. Is it to the next turn?
Yeah, but all he did was play a land.
Oh,
you know?
I haven't done it.
Yeah.
So you did draw a card, play a land.
That's
There was nothing that could have blocked the
We're
Tarmogoyf.
getting
We're
from
getting
Ben
some
Schwartz.
information
Is there
from
any
Ben
way
who
we
can hear what's going on
what
down
is,
there.
So you swung life total change.
Yeah, we're just playing
Yeah.
quick because there's not much time. Like, nobody wants to cheat each other, you know what I'm saying?
We'll give you extra time on this. Don't worry about that.
Okay, so
swung,
the damage
you drew the card untapped.
apparently
Yeah.
the mistake has
but
been
nothing
found
else
out
has happened.
a turn later.
Okay, then we
So
are
because
gonna-
he had said
cool.
go.
So back it up.
Uh-huh.
Is anything going to change?
No, no.
So we're just okay.
It's 9 to
So
14.
how does this work then?
I think
Like,
Chris,
is there a chance that the damage actually stays?
there is not, because Chris is going to come over, say no significant actions have
Okay.
happened here. Say and we check, see the life total update right there.
Yeah. But that's what Gerard was going for then.
Yeah.
First?
Yeah, and quite honestly, he has a right to
Okay, so
appeal.
he can resolve it.
Okay.
Even if you might
so,
think
you can resolve it.
if the player knows that the floor judge has given him the correct answer,
Uh-huh.
he still has the right to appeal and hope that the head judge gets the wrong answer. It's not, I don't know if I would call it sportsmanlike.
I don't like it. In the meantime,
Yeah.
Brandon used his cryptic command to tap down Gerard's team and also draw a card. And Gerard said, okay, I'll play Shackles, go.
Yeah.
Brandon is still way up against the wall here, though.
Right. he has a handful of cards and 5 mana. Gerard has no cards, but a bunch of dudes on the board.
Yeah, and this is the point where the blue decks, you start seeing holes. He's got a mana leak and a spell pierce or something in his hand, and these cards don't do anything when your opponent already has resolved all these threats. Now that's a card.
Shackles is going to do something.
Shackles definitely is going to affect combat. If he can get that Delver turned, ooh, with a lightning bolt too.
All right, Brandon has 3 islands.
So he cannot steal Tarmogoyf. He
Attack.
can, however, take the Snapcaster Mage and block.
Well,
he can also take the Aberration and block.
He can take the Snapcaster Mage,
He's going to take the Aberration.
and then Gerard takes it back.
Correct.
So there's no blocking.
No blocking happening, and it's fought. And that's,
And a bolt.
I don't know, and then bolt because he had to show it, so he already knew.
Yep.
And then that's the game.
So game 3 goes to Gerard Fabiano. That 1 life point in question didn't really matter much.
I was going to say the good guys won because I really like the rug deck, but I'm going to not say that now.